Tonight's lecture is the evolution of consciousness. But again, like I said, she is an author of a book that she has out called The Book of Orion. Orion. I just blew it. We have for us tonight Miriam Rosen.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, it's good to be back here and see all of these faces that I haven't seen for a little while. Well, like Mark said, my name is Miriam. We're gonna talk about evolution of consciousness today, which is not an easy topic. Believe me, I've been researching about evolution of consciousness for a while, and I also believe I have not exhausted my studies yet because there is so much to learn and to talk about. This lecture was born from a course that I taught right here in this place called Evolution of Consciousness. I tried to condense as much as I could in one simple lecture, which is not so simple because there are a lot of concepts that you may or may not be familiar with that we're going to be looking into. But I try to bring as much information as I can. Okay. Like I said, not easy for me either, especially speaking in English, which is not my native language, but we're going to do our best. So first thing that I want to ask you is, what motivates you to come here on a Saturday afternoon when you could be elsewhere? Learning, okay. What else? What motivates you, really? What are you doing here?
Sharing experiences.
Sharing experience, okay. Anything else?
I want to see you.
You want to see me? Thank you.
When I said you, I was like, I'm coming to learn something from you.
Okay.
Coming from you.
Well, thank you. I'm flattered. That's like my students knocking on my door. Oh, Miss Rose, I just came to say hi. Oh, okay, come on in. Yeah. All right. So, actually, we are all searching for answers that bring us love, happiness, and freedom. Who's not looking for love? Who's not looking for happiness? Who's not looking for freedom? I think this is our quest. This is our search throughout our entire lives. And then when we think we got it, oops, I don't think that's what it is. And we keep searching. And the more we search, the more we have to search. Okay? Because maybe we have not found ourselves, because we have to find ourselves first. And one of the sentences that Mark read there is, you cannot help somebody that doesn't want to help themselves. And that is absolutely true. You cannot. Okay, because the only person that can help you is yourself. Okay, not even God can if you don't want to. All right, so but we are searching for this simple yet complicated things called love, happiness, and freedom. Okay, and that has everything to do with the evolution of consciousness. But before we talk about the evolution of consciousness, we gotta know, what is consciousness? You know, how can I evolve something that I don't know what it is? Do you know what consciousness is? Do you know where it's located? Is it a physical thing? Is it an imaginary thing? Is it something that people created? What is consciousness? We have to know. Okay? Otherwise, I can't evolve it. Okay? But I don't have the right tools to evolve something I don't know what it is. Right? Okay, so I brought to you some theories from some people called scientists, psychologists, physicists, quantum physics people, okay? They have their own ideas of what consciousness is. So Carl Preben, neurosurgeon, scientist, PhD, Nobel Prize nominee, says that the definition of consciousness comes from Consire, to make knowledge together, to acquire knowledge together. Okay, that's one opinion. Next one says Rupert Sheldrake, very well known. Okay, if you ever heard about family constellation, he's the one that created the morphic fields. Not created, but discovered and named the morphic fields. Okay, he says, my view is that consciousness is a field of possibilities, is structured by fields, and these fields are not simply confined within the brain, although they clearly interact with it. I think he's close. He's very close. Let's see what others say. Right? Amit Goswami, okay, quantum physicist, creator of the theory of the primacy of consciousness. He argued that consciousness is the foundation of reality and that quantum physics cannot be fully understood through a purely materialistic view alone. Right? Francisco de Biasi, Brazilian neurosurgeon, neuroscientist, researcher of consciousness, says that consciousness is a multidimensional force of nature that goes beyond the brain and interacts with reality itself. So they all have their own ways of defining consciousness. And they are all correct in their own ways. So Stanislav Grof is the founder of transpersonal psychology. Okay? He says consciousness is not created by the brain, but is a fundamental part of existence. He saw spirituality as a real and meaningful dimension of life, not something to dismiss as superstition or imagination. Right? First off, when we talk about fields, when we talk about quantum physics, this is not hocus pocus. This is science. There is science behind it. There is science proven that there is this big field that we are all immersed in. Okay? And that's what they call consciousness. We're part of that. Other people call it vacuum, quantum vacuum. Okay? Other people call it God. Other people call it universe. Whatever name you give to it, we are part of it. American physicist Russell Targ proposes that consciousness is a fundamental part of reality, not just a byproduct or a physical process. Based on this worldview, he suggests that focused human intention directed toward well-being can produce measurable effects, even in distance or non-contact feeling. So it's not something physical. It's not something that is in our brain. It's part of us. In Spiritism, what do we call it? Spirit. Okay? Soul. Okay. In the Genesis of Consciousness, Professor Elio Couto states that consciousness of a being begins as a wave localized in one of the dimensions of the whole. The whole he refers as God, okay? Initially, it's a primordial atom, part of the quantum vacuum. This atom is also known as the individualized divine spark, which in Spiritism is called spirit, soul. In other religions, it's called different names. Okay? All right? Are we good? So, based on the different definitions that we get here, it's a very controversial subject, you know? So, imagine trying to speak about the expansion of it. The expansion of this consciousness, you know. Mainstream scientific materialistic people think that the mind, okay, is the result exclusively of a physical activity, okay, and it's not, or the brain neurons. Next. Okay. Yeah. All right, what is the Spiritism view of consciousness? Okay. Spiritism views consciousness as the living awareness of the spirit itself, temporarily expressed through a physical body and constantly evolving across many lifetimes. Okay. In the end, okay, consciousness has many levels, okay, below and above us. Yet it is one unified whole and the only thing that truly exists. Okay, the only thing that truly exists. So we've all been studying for a while, and we know that everything we can touch and feel is just a creation of our own consciousness, a creation of this big quantum vacuum. And we give the format to it. We are here to experience all of this. And then we get to the topic, well, what is evolution of consciousness? Okay, this is so beautiful. We have a consciousness. We are consciousness. We are a spark. We are a spirit. We are whatever you want to call it, whatever you resonate with that is good for you. Okay, but how do we evolve? Everybody is talking, oh, we got to evolve. We are in a period of time where we have to get there. There is no more time. What do we do? And everybody's anxious and things are changing. How do we get there? Okay. So evolution of consciousness is the ability to see life from a higher perspective, focusing on our higher self rather than getting caught up in personal dramas and traumas. It involves expanding our perception of ourselves, the world, others, and how the universe really works. Okay. And although, and I include myself in it, it's very hard to be in this 3D dimension, I can tell you that. We know all that. What do we do with it? I mean, it's beautiful. It's well written. You know, it sounds so magic. But what do we do with it? We keep living our lives, like the regular lives, and just, okay, I know it. What do I do with it? I know I have to get somewhere. How do I get there? It's not a magic step. I'm not going to find a wormhole, Bria, and just go in and go to the next dimension. First, you have to raise your vibration to get there. Okay? And how do I raise my vibration to get there? I have to eliminate my personal dramas and traumas. That's one thing. And we're going to talk more about it in the next coming slides. Okay? So, it all comes to know thyself. Okay? In order to become your own source of motivation, do not sabotage yourself along the way, because we do that a lot. We want to cut corners. We want the simple way. We want to be in our comfort zones. We want to belong to a lot of things that don't even matter. If you're thinking about the evolution of consciousness, a lot of things you want to belong to, they don't matter, because they're just for this particular world. Okay. The journey towards evolution of consciousness requires awareness, discipline, and courage. The courage to speak, the courage to say, this is not, life is not what you think. If you know, you have to say something. You can't keep it for yourself. You can't see your brothers and sisters suffering in a miserable life and not tell them a word because you don't want them to think that you are crazy. Aren't we all? Some one way, some another. So awareness, discipline, courage. Oops. Oh, okay. Well, so when we talk about evolution of consciousness, we do have to talk about quantum physics. We have to talk about it because this is what explains everything. And if people would take the time to study and to go deeper into that, they would change their perspectives. Because it's not something that the priest told me, that the people at the center told me, that the pastor told me. No, it's proven scientifically by knowledgeable people, people that have got prizes, people that have been in the field for years and years researching. And what we're going to talk about here, the double slit experiment, has been done hundreds of times, and the result is always the same. They couldn't change it. There is no way to say that doesn't exist. Okay? So the double slit experiment showed tiny particles behaving in different ways. Okay? So if you fire particles like electrons at a wall, oh, you're seeing the particle going that way. Okay? With two slits, so you have two slits there, you would expect them to go through one slit, right? So they act differently, okay? They create a wave-like interference pattern, okay, that go through both slits instead of going through one, and they become waves, okay? But when you observe them, they change. So what they say is that they can, both the electrons, they can act as particles or waves, depending if there is an observer there or not. Okay, that's in short to show you the experiment. And this is the one of the most important experiments in quantum physics, okay? And I'm going to tell you here, Thomas Young in 1801, he was a British scholar, and he was the first one to figure out that particles, that the light could behave as a wave, okay? And this formulation today demonstrates, okay, the head-scratching reality that light exists as both a particle and a wave. And stranger still, this duality cannot simultaneously be observed. Seeing light in the form of particle instantly obscures its wave-like nature and vice versa. Okay, so how can one thing act like two different things? What does that mean? That there is this quantum field where this particle is acting, but when somebody is observing, it changes, right? So what does that mean to us? Okay, everything that we focus on multiplies in our lives. Okay, so if I want love, I have to give love. Okay? If I want peace, I have to be peaceful. Right? So if I focus on war, that's what I'm gonna get. And that's what people understand, that if they are in a life that they think they didn't choose, but yet they did, they have a way to change it. Okay? And it's not just thinking about it. You have to feel it in your body. The feelings are more important than the thoughts. Okay? You have to feel it as it already is. It exists. This is your life. Okay. Whereas if you are focusing on problems, okay, I have a complicated family, or a challenging child, or a husband that is always bothering me. I am focusing on the problem. I am observing that. And the more I observe that, the more it grows into my life. So I'm bringing to my life what I do not want. Okay. So that's why I brought this experiment for us. All right. So wave particle duality and the impact of observation on quantum reality compels us to reconsider our understanding of the universal's fundamental nature. That means that the universe responds to your frequency. Whatever you put out there is what's going to come back to you. Whether you believe it, whether you want it or not, that's how the universe works. And that's what people have to understand. If I don't want the life that I have now, I have the power to change. So there is no material world. Everything is energy. I remember one time, a long time ago, I think it's been over 20 years. My daughter is 23 now. It's been over 20 years. I remember Givaldo Franco was speaking in a hotel in Fort Lauderdale. And he said, the walls you see, they don't exist. And I said, what the heck? I can touch it. I cannot go through this. How come they don't exist? You know? Don't, because this is all our creation. We're living in this, let's call it matrix, okay? We're living in this matrix. Our consciousness is here, guiding our lives according to the experiences that we want to go through or should go through, but it's not here. It's non-local. This is just my avatar. It's just what I'm wearing right now. To be here, to be able to communicate with other consciousness. And that's why we have to tell people. You're crazy. I am. You're right. I am. But if you don't tell people what you believe, it's because you don't believe it. You don't. Don't, because you keep living your same old life. Day by day by day by day. And nothing changes. Because you're not helping change the world, and we have to help change the world. It's our responsibility. The role of the observer. Living in the world, yet not of the world. Do not dwell on the problems of the world, others, family, or friends. Release passions, avoid attachments. Don't get attached. We came here alone. We're going to go back alone too. Right? Transcend the victim mentality. That's the worst. That's going to keep you here. You're going to keep coming, reincarnating in the loop, in the reincarnation loop. Oh, you didn't. Okay, I got to go back and fix that. Oh, I couldn't. I got to go back and fix that. Okay? So, victims do not progress. They merely expect others to make the effort they themselves are unwilling to undertake. There are no victims. We choose it. You are not here to save the world. Wanting to be responsible for the healing of others should not be our goal. Our true responsibility lies in healing ourselves. That's the first thing. You can't help others if you're not healed. Offering help is important when possible, but the primary focus remains on your growth and healing. Approach each person's journey with compassion, not pity. That doesn't mean you can't tell the truth. Okay? Refrain from complaining. Complaining is like crying out twice, drawing more of what we wish to avoid into our lives. Our growth and evolution depend entirely on our actions, willpower, and desire. In other words, act. Okay, if I have all of this knowledge and I don't pass forward, if I don't act, what good does it do to me? What good does it do to other people? Unconditional love. That's something we hear about it. I never felt it because I don't think I have unconditional love yet. There are certain people that I just can't take it. But, we're all imperfect. So what you focus on grows and expands. Each time we turn our focus inward, we expand love. And everything that isn't real begins to dissolve. Blocked emotions, limiting belief system rooted in fear, and anything that separates us from our true selves. As we continue to release more and more, the experience of consciousness and the unconditional love within us expands. We start to recognize parts of ourselves that aren't vibrating at a higher frequency and begin to realign them. Okay? Our connection to the source is straight. You just have to connect with it. You don't need intermediaries. You can sit there and connect. You can just hear your intuition. You are going to feel something different. You're going to hear it like a person talking to you. I was just here right now while Mark was praying, and I could hear them. You can close your eyes and just connect and see what parts of me need to be changed. What can I do to improve myself and grow? Our belief system is what keeps us here. Everything we were taught since when we were born, everything we went through in our past lives, and maybe our future lives, because time doesn't exist. Past, present, and future, they're all together. We have all of the dimensions in this one room. We just cannot see them because we're not at the same frequency level. There are different levels of consciousness as we start to awaken. Okay? The awakened, the unawakened, and the semi-awakened. So the unawakened, okay, a person who is mainly operating on autopilot. Strong identification with the ego, status, fear, or external validation. Living according to social conditioning without questioning it. Reacting emotionally without much self-reflection. Believing happiness only comes from money, approval, and relationships. Little awareness of deeper spiritual or psychological patterns. This does not mean the person is unintelligent or bad. No, it's just not spiritually awakened, okay? It simply means they have not started consciously questioning themselves or life deeply yet. The semi-awakened. Someone in transition between unconscious living and deeper awareness. Right? Beginning to question reality, society, relationships, or personal patterns. Interested in spirituality, healing, energy, consciousness, or self-improvement. More self-aware than before, but still pulled back into ego patterns. Experience moments of clarity mixed with confusion. May go through emotional ups and downs, identify shifts, or spiritual awakening symptoms. This phase is often described as unstable because the person sees beyond old beliefs but hasn't fully integrated the new awareness yet. That's the hardest step. I'm here, I'm almost there. I just couldn't get that leap of faith yet, you know? And finally, the awakening. A person who has developed a higher level of consciousness awareness or inner alignment. That's a Buddha, a Jesus, okay? None of us is there yet. Okay? Greater inner peace and emotional regulation, less controlled by ego, fear, or external validation, strong sense of purpose, compassion, and presence, ability to observe thoughts instead of being ruled by them, feeling connected to something larger than the self, more intentional and authentic way of living. In many spiritual frameworks, awakened does not necessarily mean perfect or enlightened. It usually means the person consistently lives with awareness instead of complete unconscious conditioning. And that's when you, before you do things, you think. That's to be more awakened. Any questions so far? No. All right, authenticity. This is the evolution of consciousness begins with being true to yourself, showing up without masks, free from fear or judgment or rejection. It starts with a deep recognition of who we truly are at our core. From there, the next step is to acknowledge our limitations and commit to evolving into an even more authentic and elevated version of who we already are. Be authentic in everything you do. Tell your truth in everything you do. We don't have to be rude. We don't have to convince anybody. But we can say what we think. It's up to the person to believe. It's not your responsibility to make them evolve. But it is your responsibility to tell them what you know. Emotions play a big, big, big part in our evolution of consciousness. And like I said before, to feel is more important to manifest the life you want than to rationally think about it or visualize it. Right? So, learning to control our emotions, our response to events in our lives. David Hawkins' scale of emotions, okay, shows that low frequency negative emotions attract negative experiences and hinder personal growth and success. So the more angry I am, the more low self-esteem I have, the more depressed I may be, this is going to hinder your personal growth. And in his scale, okay, which is this one, we can see that down here is shame, guilt, apathy, sadness, fear, desire, anger, pride, and then it's going to go up. Courage, neutrality, goodwill, acceptance, reason, love, joy, which is happiness, peace, and enlightenment. So if we try to be happy, we are already in a very high frequency where other energies will not be able to penetrate in our field. But if we are acting here in fear or sadness or anger, we are opening our field for energies that are alike to come and join us and make this even bigger. So you see the importance of us try to live in a state of happiness, well-being, courage, and moving forward. So sometimes simply noticing what state am I operating from right now can shift how someone responds to a situation. Okay. So let's say a situation makes you really angry, but before you throw your anger at the other person, stop and think, what state am I operating from right now? Is it the best thing for me? Should I proceed, or should I give a step back and rethink? Another thing is that people's static, right? All of the static around them should not interact with yours if you are at the higher level frequency. And you shouldn't respond to their aggressiveness either. Is it easy? No. That demands a lot of practice. That demands you looking at it and say, that's not mine. And I refuse to interact with it. And you're already growing right there. You're already evolving right there. Like I said before, the universe responds to your frequency. The universe doesn't judge whether the thought you have is something you want or not. It simply responds at the same frequency. If you are on a low frequency, you're subject to all kinds of interference, whether you believe it or not. If you are on a high frequency, you come into alignment with the quantum vacuum and begin to enjoy a more abundant and happy life. So evolution happens through love and joy and not pain. Okay? Only when you raise your frequency is when you start evolving. You start aligning yourself with the universe, with this big wave of energy that we come from. The universe has so much love for us, so much love, that it keeps giving us a lot of opportunities to grow. But it can't do it for us. We have to do it. So it's in an infinite expansion, okay? The evolution of consciousness is a continuous and expansive journey from the tiniest atoms to union with the divine. Each stage marks a step forward in the complexity and depth of awareness, inviting us to explore and understand our true essence and our connection to the universe. We will only expand our consciousness when we eliminate any form of prejudice, taboos, and limiting beliefs. If I'm still in a state of separation from my brothers and sisters, I'm not evolving. If I'm still at war with them, if I'm still angry at them, I'm not evolving. I have to eliminate that. If they don't want to eliminate it, that is their problem. But I cannot have prejudice against them. I cannot look at people and think they are inferior or less than I am or more than I am, because they are not. We're all the same. We all come from the same source. Books, minds, and umbrellas only work if they're open.
What a statement.
Okay? What else can I say? If you close up yourself to new ideas, you're closing up your evolution too. You have to consider there's so many people bringing so many new things, so many new concepts. And like I said, it's not hocus pocus, it's science. And I remember Kardec said, stick with the science. Right? The true essence of life is realizing that we are divine flames, each carrying an inner light. We all have this light, but we can't hide it. We have to let it shine. The awakening of consciousness is the healing of the self, a return home to our true nature. We're not doing that? Enjoy the journey and smell the flowers along the way. Thank you very much.
Well, I think we learned a little